Hey there friends and enemies, JoPa here again, and today I want to showcase another Prismatic Titan build that I've been really enjoying in Destiny 2, and it all starts with the exotic class item as it opens up a ton of possibilities with different combinations, especially when you pair it with different new weapons that we have in the Final Shape and Episode Echoes, as there's more versatility in my mind than ever before. So there's really no reason to run just one or two options. You can really mix and match to create some fun combinations and interactions. So what I have on Stoicism is the Spirit of the Eternal Warrior and Spirit of the Star Eater. So I gain bonus weapon damage when my super ends, and also when I have my supercharged, I can gather orbs of power to overcharge that super. Combine this with the brand new Microcosm exotic trace rifle that is kinetic, and you will have the paracausal imbuement trait. Final blows with this weapon grant super energy. This weapon gains bonus damage once your super ends. You can see how that combination could be a ton of fun. Then also the intrinsic trait paracausal beam, so fires a beam of kinetic light, dealing massive bonus damage. The nice thing about this is you will constantly gain super energy, you will get bonus damage to your super, you will get bonus damage to your microcosm, and you will also be charging your transcendence as long as you're killing enemies with your microcosm as well, because it is a kinetic, so you'll charge both meters at the same time. It is insanely fun. I'm also using an empty vessel. This is a personal option that I really enjoy. You use this with a glacier grenade and then fire it at the wall of ice, and it's going to explode everything in the area, which I really enjoy. Then also the hung jury. This is great for higher end content, as it does have kinetic tremors and firefly. So firefly will create some explosions in groups of ants, while kinetic tremors will take down heavier, tankier enemies if you get enough shots into them. And you will also be able to take down enemies with shields as well. So you can use Microcosm if you have enough ammo for that, or you can swap to this, and it does do a bunch of damage over the course of time. So now, as far as the subclass, I am using Twilight Arsenal. This is my favorite right now, although you could use Thunder Crash as well if you'd rather mix it up a little bit. You definitely want to use a essentially one-off super rather than anything that is going to last for a long time, simply because it doesn't make a lot of sense when you're trying to juice up your power of your super and your microcosm. So then we've got Transcendence, obviously, and I'm using Frenzied Blade. This is just so I have 3 charges. I'll use this from time to time, but for the most part I'm using Consecration, and you don't have to use this. This is just a personal preference. I didn't have enough ad clear on this build for my own personal preference, so that's why I went with Consecration, and having the 3 charges is very, very nice. Then I've got the Glacier Grenade. Like I said, I like to toss this in a group of enemies or a big tankier enemy and then fire my grenade at it. My grenade launcher has Vorpal on it as well, so if it hits the target that is a boss or a mini boss and I explode the Glacier Grenade, the damage is actually really substantial. I'm also going to use Knockout. This is very advantageous when I need to gain some health back and there are enemies nearby. I just like this one a lot. As far as the fragments go, I am using Grace. This is really good for kinetic weapons because I get the bonus Transcendence weapons as well, and this does work with my Microcosm, which is very, very nice. Then we've got the Facet of Dawn, Protection, Blessing, as well as Purpose. Now, as far as the mods go, you can be a little bit flexible with this, but I'm going to go over what I'm using first. Now, we have the hands-on heavy ammo finder is absolutely necessary, and then kinetic siphons. Most of my kills, if they are not with my abilities, are going to be with the kinetic weapons, either Microcosm or Hung Jury. So that's why you want that kinetic siphon, generate as many orbs as possible to overcharge, but also get your super back very quickly. Then we've got melee kickstart, heavy-handed, kinetic dexterity. I just like that combination. And again, you want your melee back as well. Having that as an option to use when you need your health back is very nice. Then whatever damage resist you want to use, and then kinetic reserves is also very, very helpful. Better already, and then kinetic weapon search. You can do triple kinetic weapon search if you would like, but I just like this combination a little bit better. And then Reaper, time dilation, and outreach. Again, I want to get my abilities back as quickly as possible because I will be using my super often, and essentially I want to spam everything while I can, while also using my Microcosm. Anyway, the basic gameplay loop of this build that I very much enjoy is essentially that you're going to get your supercharge, whether it's by getting kills with your microcosm, or if you rally a flag or anything of that nature and you have your super, you're going to want to gather some orbs before you pop your super for that extra bonus damage. And don't forget, if you're using Twilight Arsenal, the axes that it drops, they do pretty good damage, but you don't want to use it necessarily as solely a melee weapon. You can pick them up and chuck them long distances and do chunkier damage as well. But you want to get some damage in with your microcosm first. You don't want to waste the time that it takes to get your bonus damage for your Eternal Warrior and for your microcosm after your super, throwing those axes. You can let your teammates do that. You can use your microcosm, do some damage, and then when you're out of ammo, then you can grab one of the axes. There will oftentimes be enough time for that as well. So just something to keep in mind, because you don't want to waste that at all. Now, when you are in harder content with this build, the nice thing is that you can definitely play at range and do chunks of damage no matter what types of enemies you're taking on, as long as you can find some cover. So for example, you can get your super, pop your super using your microcosm. You can then toss a glacier grenade and use your empty vessel. Then you can also ping away at enemies with your hung jury while also being able to go transcendent as well. So overall, this just combines for a very fun gameplay loop, and I feel like I was having my super and or transcendence pretty much all the time. There was really not a whole lot of downtime in comparison with some other builds, and I was being conservative oftentimes with my microcosm ammo, and you can use that more often in order to generate even more super energy and more transcendence as well, because that's really where this build is going to shine. You just want to make sure that you have enough ammo to use the weapon after your super ends as well. So just something to keep in mind, and something that I find to be a ton of fun. This combination is one that I think pairs extremely well, and if you are fortunate enough to get this on your class item, I think it would be a perfect option for a lot of people. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I love trying the new stuff, so most of the builds that I make are centered around that, trying to make them as viable as possible. Maybe they aren't the absolute meta, but for me, there's very little content in the game where you have to worry about absolute meta, and more often you can really focus on the fun factor as long as you're completing the task, and you definitely can do so with a build of this nature. Anyway, let me know in the comments down below. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Helps me out tremendously, shows you want to see more Destiny 2 content of this nature. I really appreciate all the support. My name is Jopa. Have a good one. I'll catch you all later.